By 1939, the world was at war, engulfed in a conflict that would soon touch every continent and reshape the course of history. The streets of Europe echoed with the sound of marching boots, and the world map was rapidly filling with new conflict zones. New, terrifying technologies were changing the battlefield forever. Tanks thundered across Europe, their steel hulls cutting through the countryside and leaving devastation in their wake. Bombers soared high above, striking cities far from the front lines. For the first time, civilians became targets, and entire neighborhoods could vanish overnight in a rain of fire and steel. Amid this chaos, a new and even more profound fear emerged. Scientists in Germany had discovered nuclear fission, the process of splitting the atom and unleashing unimaginable energy. This breakthrough hinted at a weapon with the power to destroy entire cities in a single flash, a force so great it could end wars or end civilization itself. Alarmed by the possibility, scientists who had fled Europe, many of them refugees escaping persecution, warned the United States of the danger that now loomed over humanity. Albert Einstein, one of the most brilliant minds of the century, famously signed a letter to President Franklin D. Roosevelt, urging America to begin its own atomic research before it was too late. Thus began a secret race, not just to win the war, but to shape the very future of humanity. In hidden laboratories, scientists and engineers worked around the clock, driven by both fear and hope. The stakes were unprecedented. The fate of the world could hinge on who built the bomb first. Every decision, every experiment carried the weight of history. The United States, with its vast resources, industrial might, and distance from the front lines, was uniquely positioned to take on this monumental challenge. Scientists, once independent and devoted to pure discovery, were now recruited for a top-secret military project, their expertise becoming a crucial weapon in the war effort. The pursuit of knowledge was being harnessed for war, forever linking science and national security. The boundaries between discovery and destruction blurred as never before. This alliance would have lasting consequences, ushering in the atomic age, a time of both promise and peril, where humanity held the power of the stars in its hands. The world stood on the brink of a new era, born from the fear and violence of World War II. People everywhere waited anxiously, sensing that life would never be the same. The atomic age was about to begin, forever altering the destiny of nations and the fate of the world. The American effort to build the atomic bomb was codenamed the Manhattan Project, a name that would come to symbolize one of the most ambitious and secretive undertakings in history. Far from Manhattan itself, entire secret cities sprang up across the country. Oak Ridge in Tennessee, Hanford in Washington, and Los Alamos in New Mexico, each playing a crucial role in the project. J. Robert Oppenheimer, a brilliant physicist, led a team of the world's top scientists, racing against time and the looming threat of Nazi Germany's own nuclear ambitions. At Oak Ridge, uranium was painstakingly enriched using massive machines and new technology. At Hanford, plutonium was produced in secret reactors, guarded day and night. And at Los Alamos, the bomb itself took shape. As scientists assembled the components for the world's first atomic weapon, secrecy was absolute. Most workers had no idea what they were building, only that their work was vital to the war effort. The project operated in shadows, pushing science and engineering to their limits and demanding total dedication from everyone involved. After years of relentless effort and countless challenges, the climax came on July 16, 1945. In the remote New Mexico desert, the first atomic bomb was tested, codenamed Trinity, a moment that would change history forever. The explosion lit the sky brighter than the sun, unleashing a force and energy beyond imagination, witnessed by those who had made it possible. Oppenheimer later recalled words from ancient scripture, "Now I am become death, the destroyer of worlds." The atomic age had arrived, and the world would never look the same again. The weapon was no longer theory, it was a terrifying reality, ready to alter the course of history. The world would never be the same as humanity entered a new and uncertain era. The Manhattan Project began as a race against Nazi Germany. Many scientists, some refugees from Europe, were driven by the fear of a German atomic bomb. But by May 1945, Germany surrendered before the bomb was ready. With Hitler defeated, attention shifted to Japan, where the war raged on. American forces faced fierce resistance, casualties mounted on both sides. Japanese soldiers and civilians prepared for a last-ditch defense of the home islands. The prospect of invasion was grim. Estimates predicted millions of casualties. Military planners saw the atomic bomb as a way to force a quick surrender and avoid a bloody invasion. The bomb's purpose shifted from countering a Nazi threat to ending the war with Japan. The target moved from Europe's forests to Japan's cities. The world's most powerful weapon was about to be unleashed. Before the atomic bomb, the US waged a devastating firebombing campaign against Japan. Led by General Curtis LeMay, bombers switched to low-altitude nighttime raids using incendiary bombs. Japanese cities, built of wood and paper, were especially vulnerable. On March 9, 1945, Tokyo was engulfed in a firestorm. Over 100,000 killed in a single night. This was the most destructive air raid in history. Dozens of other cities suffered similar fates. Millions were left homeless. By summer, Japan's cities and industry were crippled. The distinction between military and civilian targets blurred. For American planners, the atomic bomb was seen as a more efficient extension of this destruction. One bomb could do what once took hundreds of planes. The stage was set for nuclear attack. With the bomb ready, a special committee chose the targets. They wanted large, undamaged cities to measure the bomb's true power and maximize psychological impact. Kyoto was spared for its cultural significance, thanks to Secretary of War Henry Stimson. Hiroshima became the primary target, a major military and industrial center untouched by previous raids. Its flat terrain would amplify the bomb's effects. Nagasaki, a key port and industrial city, was also selected, though it was not the first choice for the second bomb. The list of targets was held in reserve, awaiting the atomic attack. The selection process was cold and calculated, focused on demonstrating the bomb's power. The fate of these cities was sealed by military logic and circumstance. The world was about to witness destruction on an unimaginable scale. The decision was made. The targets were set. The countdown began. On August 6, 1945, the Enola Gay took off from Tinian carrying the uranium bomb Little Boy. Hiroshima was just beginning its day. No one suspected what was coming. At 8:15 a.m., the bomb was released, detonating high above the city. A blinding flash lit the sky, a second sun. Intense heat incinerated everything near the blast, etching shadows onto walls. The shockwave flattened buildings for miles, turning the city into rubble. A mushroom cloud rose, casting a dark shadow over the ruins. Tens of thousands died instantly. Many more were trapped or fatally injured. Black radioactive rain fell, contaminating survivors and the land. Fires raged, merging into a giant firestorm. For those who lived, the horror was just beginning. Survivors wandered through devastation, burned and bewildered. Hiroshima had become a vision of hell on Earth. The world had witnessed the dawn of nuclear warfare. 3 days after Hiroshima, Japan's leaders hesitated to surrender. On August 9, 1945, Boxcar carried the plutonium bomb Fat Man, aiming for Kokura. Clouds forced a diversion to Nagasaki. With fuel running low, the bomb was dropped over the Urakami Valley, home to factories and a large Catholic community. The blast was even more powerful than Hiroshima's, but Nagasaki's hills confined the destruction. Factories and neighborhoods were obliterated. The cathedral was destroyed. Between 40,000 and 74,000 people died. For the second time in 3 days, a city was devastated by nuclear fire. Survivors faced fire, radiation, and ruin. The world had crossed a line twice. The message was clear: surrender or face annihilation. The atomic age's horror was now undeniable. The aftermath in Hiroshima and Nagasaki was catastrophic. Survivors, the Hibakusha, faced unimaginable suffering, burns, injuries, and a mysterious new illness, radiation sickness. Many died in agony. Others faced lifelong health problems and social stigma. The psychological trauma was profound. Survivors carried guilt and grief for decades. Yet, many became advocates for peace, determined to prevent future nuclear horrors. The cities themselves were reduced to wastelands, but slowly they rebuilt. Today, Hiroshima and Nagasaki stand as modern cities, but they have not forgotten. Memorials and peace parks serve as reminders of the cost of nuclear war. The scars remain both visible and invisible. The bombings changed the world's understanding of war and humanity's capacity for destruction. The legacy of the atomic age is one of warning and remembrance. The hope endures never again. The world was forever changed. The bombing of Nagasaki, coming just days after Hiroshima, brought unimaginable devastation to the city and its people. At the same time, the Soviet Union's sudden entry into the war against Japan forced the nation's hand, creating a sense of urgency and despair among Japanese leaders. In a historic move, Emperor Hirohito intervened, breaking the deadlock within his government and announcing Japan's surrender to the world. On August 15, 1945, millions of Japanese citizens heard their emperor's voice for the very first time, delivering the message of surrender in a broadcast that stunned the nation. The formal surrender ceremony on September 2nd, held aboard the USS Missouri in Tokyo Bay, officially ended World War II and marked a turning point in global history. The atomic bombings are often credited with saving countless lives by making a costly Allied invasion of Japan unnecessary, sparing both soldiers and civilians from further suffering. Yet the decision to use atomic weapons remains deeply controversial, sparking debate among historians, ethicists, and survivors alike. Critics argue that Japan was already on the brink of collapse, its cities devastated and resources depleted, and that surrender was imminent even without the bomb. Some believe the bomb was also intended as a powerful message to the Soviet Union, signaling the dawn of a new era in international power dynamics. The attacks on Hiroshima and Nagasaki ushered in the nuclear age, forever altering the course of human history and warfare. The shadow of nuclear weapons has since loomed over international relations, shaping policies and fueling fears of future conflict. These events raise enduring questions about morality, the limits of power, and the responsibilities of nations in times of war. The price of peace and the choices made to achieve it continue to be debated to this day. August 1945 marked both an end and a beginning, a moment of relief but also of profound loss and reflection for the world. The world was forever changed by the mushroom cloud, its image seared into collective memory as a symbol of both destruction and the hope for peace. The legacy of Hiroshima and Nagasaki endures, reminding us of the devastating consequences of war and the urgent need for understanding. It stands as a stark reminder of the cost of conflict and a call to strive for a more peaceful future.